He started with a lie. A strategic, brilliant, calculated lie that changed everything. George Johnson walked into a Chicago bank in 1954 asking for $250. The answer was no. 3 days later, he walked into a different branch. Same request. But this time, he had a different story. He told them the money was for a vacation to California, a family trip. This time, the bank said yes. With that $250, plus $4 from his own pocket, George and Joan Johnson founded Johnson Products Company in Chicago, Illinois. According to historical records, they were about to revolutionize an industry that had completely ignored an entire market. Here's the thing about 1954 America. Black consumers didn't exist in the eyes of major corporations. Revlon wasn't making products for black skin. Maybelline wasn't thinking about black hair. The beauty industry had written off 10 million black Americans as not worth serving. George and Joan Johnson saw that gap and saw an opportunity. Their first product was Ultra Sheen, a hair relaxer George had developed while working as a production chemist for S.B. Fuller's cosmetics company beginning in 1944, according to historical records. Ultra Sheen wasn't just a product, it was a statement. We see you. We're building for you. The results were staggering. According to Black Enterprise magazine, by 1960, just 6 years after founding, Johnson Products was dominating nearly 80% of the black hair care market in the United States. 80%. They went from a basement operation to market dominance in less than a decade. But success attracts competition, and it attracts scrutiny. In 1976, according to Federal Trade Commission records, the government mandated that Johnson Products clearly label Ultra Sheen packaging warning about lye, which could cause burns and eye damage if used improperly. Here's where it gets interesting. Revlon, the white-owned company that had started copying Johnson's products, wasn't initially required to follow the same rule George Johnson called it an absolute assassination of his product. And he wasn't wrong. The FTC was enforcing standards differently based on ownership. Then came the cultural shift that actually saved the company. In the late 1960s, the Black Power movement exploded. The Afro hairstyle became a symbol of black pride and natural beauty. Suddenly, hair relaxers weren't as popular. Most companies would have panicked. Johnson Products adapted. According to the Smithsonian Institution, they created the Afro Sheen Blowout Kit, a product specifically designed for natural hair. The company understood that staying relevant meant evolving with their community. In 1971, Johnson Products became the first black-owned company ever listed on the American Stock Exchange, AMEX, according to the New York Times. Think about that. The first. Not just in hair care, in any industry. They had shattered a ceiling that most people didn't even know existed. By 1976, according to Crane's Chicago Business, the company had reached $40 million in annual sales with 500 employees in Chicago and a factory in Nigeria. They were global. They were powerful. They were untouchable. Or so it seemed. Then came 1989. George and Joan divorced. According to court records, as part of the divorce settlement, Joan gained control of the company while George stepped back. Their son Eric became CEO in 1988, but by 1992 he had stepped down, reportedly due to poor relations with Joan. In 1993, Joan made a decision that sparked national debate. She sold Johnson Products to IVAX Corporation, a white-owned company, for $67 million in stock, according to Crane's Chicago Business. Black Enterprise magazine ran a controversial cover story asking, should black businesses be sold to whites? It became the question of the moment. But here's the full story. Joan retained 54% ownership of the company. She didn't lose control. She strategically monetized it. And according to her son Eric, she monetized the company, which was a very intelligent thing to do at the time. The company changed hands multiple times after that. In 2004, Procter & Gamble acquired it. But in 2009, according to multiple sources, an African-American investment firm purchased Johnson Products and re-established it as a black-owned company. Once again, George and Joan Johnson's story isn't just about success. It's about what happened before success even became possible. It's about seeing a market nobody else could see. It's about lying to a banker and building an empire anyway. It's about adapting when the culture shifted. It's about a black man becoming the first black businessman to own a publicly traded company on Wall Street. But here's what most people don't know. George Johnson also founded Independence Bank in 1964. He became the first black American to serve on the board of directors of Commonwealth Edison, one of Illinois' largest utility companies. And Johnson Products sponsored Soul Train, making them the first African-American company to sponsor a nationally syndicated television program. One $250 loan. One lie about a vacation. One man and one woman who understood their community so completely that they built something that lasted for generations. George Johnson passed away on March 31st, 2024, at age 97. Joan Johnson passed in 2019 at age 89. But Ultra Sheen and Afro Sheen still sit on shelves in stores across America. Their legacy isn't just in the products, it's in the blueprint they created for black entrepreneurs. See the gap. Build for your community. Adapt. Persist. That's the Johnson Products story. That's how you build a cosmetics empire from $254 and a lie that turns into truth. Comment below. If you had that $250 in 1954, what would you have built? And more importantly, what are you building now? Like this video. Share it with a young entrepreneur. Subscribe to Ikamifuna History TV because these stories matter. These are the blueprints for Black excellence.